And we have a new Glock pistol, Glock Generation 6. I'm going to talk about what's been done different, the new features that it has, even some things that apparently even Glock themselves forgot to even mention in their own presentation, in their own website. And guys, as always, if you want to learn more about preparedness and survival, you're definitely in the right place. You have a ton of information already here. Just use the search function, and you have also my books, Street Survival Skills and Surviving the Economic Collapse. Best way to be prepared is not focusing so much on having the latest generation of whatever, but the knowledge, the skill. What you have in here matters a lot more than having the latest whatever thing is. You will have the links for my books below there in the description, available in Amazon, okay? And I've always recommended Glock, so of course I'm going to talk about this, because one of the things over the years that I've always recommended is stay with what works. Keep it simple. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. If the Glock has been around for I don't know how many years, and it works well, and is reliable, and is the most popular, most reliable pistol in the holsters of servicemen, police, military, and people that know about guns all over the world, you go with that. You do whatever. But my advice, what I say here on the channel, what I write about in my books is, dude, go with that Glock 9mm, arguably the most, the most reliable handgun a human being can carry, okay? So having said all of that, I've always been a massive Glock fan, and not a fanboy, but just objectively understanding what the gun can do for you. Let's talk about the Generation 6. And I'm here in the Glock website already, and there's a bunch of things that they have here right there for you to just click on. So you have the serrations. Now these are serrations. You see how it's like different, how it's more deep there on top. So this would be the difference. The slide serrations are angled deeper into the slide to make the surface engagement more tactile for slide manipulation. So you had it already in the Generation 5. Here is angled a little bit. Okay. Then you have the thumb rest. So you have this pedal for putting your finger, all right, there. You're going to put your finger in. Now, these may seem like little details that don't matter a whole lot. I'm going to tell you, this kind of thing, you will be able to, and there's people, I mean, we already do that. You put your finger there, and you have a little bit of a shoulder, but now it's been like enhanced in some way. It's been, marked deeper. A lot of these things are things that people have been doing for many years now with a Dremel tool. It's just Glock paying attention and listening, okay? So guys that know about guns are doing these things. Or maybe some Gucci Glock guy that is just, screwing around with it. But do they have an actual, is this a solid mod? Is this something that makes sense? And they obviously paid attention to all of that, because this looks basically like a Gucci Glock. Gucci Glocks are the Glocks that have been modified so as to make them more Gucci, like more cool, more expensive, right? And a lot of people will have this bias of, oh, you're just fucking around with something that didn't need any of that. Okay, obviously Glock thinks that a lot of these things actually did make sense, because they are incorporating in their Gen 6. I will assume that Glock did a lot, and I mean a lot of research, and said, okay, this actually is better. We're going to go with this. We're going to do this, because with our guys, we've been testing it, and it's worked better than not having it. That's why we're doing it. Here, another little modification that is minimal, like nothing at all, barely. Now, it is the increasing the border surrounding the slide stop lever has been enlarged to prevent unintentional activation. I never had that happen, but even though it's already there, they just made it just a slightly tiniest little bit bigger. Again, they do a lot of testing on these things, and if they did it, it's because it probably works. Optic ready, I mean, not much to say about that. Nice for people that want to put a red dot in there. It's going to be easier now than ever. Then you have, at least for me, what seems to be a little bit more of the controversial. I don't know if it's a lot. I think it looks ugly. The enlarged Beavertail encourages a high grip while ensuring the slide can slide freely. It has happened before. You've seen in videos where we do police shootings, in body cams and all of that stuff. Every once in a while, someone puts his thumb here and causes a malfunction. So I get it why they did it. I don't think it was super necessary. I think it was just fine as it was. And I bet there's going to be a bunch of people that will buy this gun and will get a file and file this shit down quite a bit. And at the end of the day, you can file it on your own fairly easily. Why am I doing this on a new gun? I don't know. But they clearly wanted to have more of a Beavertail in there, like going on like a 1980s, 1911 sort of thing. I think it looks like shit. Honestly, I think it doesn't look good at all. I don't know. It's, little by little, it's growing on me. At first, I was like, this is like a cheese grinder thing. It looks like shit. But okay, let's go on. Let's continue. Beavertail competition trigger. Here we have each pistol comes standard with a flat face trigger for consistent finger placement and trigger pull. The trigger maintains a safe action system while compromise safety and reliability. Compared to the old one, it was curved, right? Curvature. No serration or no line there, just flat surface. A lot of people like that. I like that. I don't know enough to make a strong call in terms of, ooh, yes, this is a huge plus, the flat surface on the trigger. I know that it's more competition, like to have a flat trigger. I will again default to, the Glock folks have tried it and decided this is just better. We're going to do this. I had no problem with the trigger as it was, that's just me. The grip, this is one of the things that you have to actually touch, the surface to see, ooh, it feels better or not. I think it looks a little bit weird, but I will give it to Glock in terms of the Gen 6 grip texture combines two textures into one to create the perfect blend, performance and comfort. Okay, if you say so. I think it looks a little bit weird, but if you say it's better, it's better. This is better. The palm swell contours the pistol to the natural curvature of the hand. And apparently they scanned the hands of a bunch of employees, and they have like thousands of hands scanned. And using that information, this is the shape they came up with. And I can't tell you, because of knives, that having a palm swell or anything, it fills up this. You see how my hand here is like more, it's like hollow here, the palm of your hand, unless you're like very, very fat. This part will be hollow, right? And whatever you can have in your grip to fill this up makes for a better grip. So it is natural to have that swelling in the middle be quite a bit more comfortable. This is something that I've heard people that have happened in the actual presentation in, I think in Austria, were mentioning they like the way it feels in the hand, and they can completely understand why. This is definitely a more comfortable shape. Again, little details, little differences, and people are different everyone. So what's comfortable for someone may not be a big deal for someone else. The thing that they obviously didn't mention, and I think they should have put a little dot in here, is that they ate up the trigger guard quite a bit, even more so than in the Glock Gen 5. They went very, very deep here. Again, many things that people that make their own Gucci Glocks or have modified their Glocks, this is a traditional mod of eating up the plastic and making your own little bit of a bridge there, or even adding some piece. So this is something that had been done, the trigger, this part right here, and it is not a minor difference. This amount of extra space for your hand to go up will allow quite a bit of better recoil control and muzzle flip. Not so much the recoil, but the muzzle flip. The closer you are, this is the axis where the force comes when you pull the trigger, right? This is where it's pushing back. And the closer you are to this, ideally your grip would be here, right? You would be holding your gun like this, and it would be like that, right? This would be the ideal pushing straight into the bone structure. No gun has been made. I think there's some weird stuff going on. There's an Alien gun, an Alien brand, that's like very low bore axis, very low. The bore axis goes super low. What you're looking for that is minimizing muzzle flip. Minimal muzzle flip means you can go quicker into your target, which is, it's a big advantage. So that's pretty much on the outside. Same magazines, same mags as always, so that's not an inconvenience. And then you have one of the big internal differences, which is they went from the captive double coil spring here, right? This one that was in your Gen 4 and 5, and they went back to a single spring, captive single spring, which I think you can see somewhere here. This is from the Firearms blog website. And you see it here, okay? Why did they do this? Isn't this one better that they had in 4 and 5? Probably helps absorb recoil a little bit better. This may be more that makes sense in 40 and 45, and given that these are all in 9mm, not as necessary. And there was nothing wrong with the original one. The captive spring was a fan favorite, and I was a fan of it too. I grew to like this captive thing. Now, it is bigger, it is more stuff, more structure, more expensive too. And if it wasn't really necessary, and if this is just as reliable in 9mm, okay, I guess I just go with that. I like it, man. I think it's GLOCK Gucci, GLOCK tactical, you know, that they implemented into this thing. It's slowly growing in me. I like it, you know, a little bit more. One of the differences is that the slide here in the Gen 17, it's not going all the way. You know, it's not going all the way like in the 5, and this makes it perfect for mixing up parts. So you have, okay, so you have, how many crossovers do you have? Ooh, okay, so I see it. You have 4 GLOCKs. You have the 17, you have the 19, you have the 45, which is the slide of the GLOCK 17 with the frame of the 19 with the frame of the 17. So you have your 17 round and full grip. And then you have your 49, which is the slide of the GLOCK 17, so longer barrel, greater distance between your sights. The sight distance here is in your 17, and the smaller grip, the smaller frame of the GLOCK 19. So 15 rounds, maybe a bit easier to carry. A lot of people think this is the one. Oh, this is for carrying. Dude, I mean, this is the more compact one, the GLOCK 19. But honestly, for carrying, what you want is this part that makes a big deal. This one goes all into the holster. Really doesn't change much at all, right? This is the one that makes it more concealable. And this is what makes it more shootable and gives it a little bit more velocity and gives you more muzzle flip control. And just this is the one that I would go if I'm going to go with something more concealable and don't want to compromise on actual shootability, you know? Anyway, that's my take on these things. But yeah, there you go, guys. We do have a new GLOCK out there. Actually, you have 4 new GLOCKs, and there's going to be a bunch of people looking forward to them. Yeah, cool gum. Guys, it's going to be all for now. See you in the next video. Take care.